Hello my lovelies, welcome back to my channel, or welcome on in if you're new here. My name's Sophie and this little dude is Casper. Also that's Marcy, ignore her. This video is not about her. She's just being an attention whore. But yeah, as I'm sure you saw from the title and the intro to this video, I made modded villagers of my own cats and put them into the game so that I could have them living in my town and I can interact with them and talk with them and all that good stuff. So I just kind of want to introduce you to each of them since, you know, these are new characters that you're maybe not familiar with. And I do kind of want to show you a little bit of like the process of how I made them. It's not going to be like a full-on tutorial because honestly, I feel like I had no idea what I was doing the whole time and it was a very messy, complicated process, but I just want to show a little bit of it because I think it's kind of interesting and maybe you guys will find it interesting too. But let's go ahead and dive into introducing you to all the kitties. Oh my god, I just wanted to go to Harv so I could show you them sitting there and it's making me do this whole cutscene. Why? Alright, well I just button smashed my way through that cutscene so that I could come inside and show you guys each of these little kitty cat mods up close and personal. So first up I have to start with my boy Casper. He is my firstborn son, my first baby, my first cat I've ever had. I love him so much. I couldn't have cats growing up because we had allergies in the family, but then now I'm an adult and I have adult money and I wanted to get a cat. So I adopted him in summer of 2022, which is like right after I got my first like grown-up big girl job, I guess. So yeah, he was a cute little itty bitty baby when we got him and now he is the biggest boy on the planet. I swear he is so big. He's 18 pounds, which is pretty big for a cat. I know obviously some breeds like Maine Coons get way bigger, but yeah, he is very big. We kind of had a feeling he'd be huge when I got him because his little feet were massive compared to the rest of his body, and yeah, he's definitely grown into them. But first of all, I actually used for this mod, I started by using someone else's mod they made. Oh my god, I can't think of the creator name. I will put their info up on the screen here, but they made a mod for Custard, who is the cat in Strawberry Shortcake. And I liked this model because the cat is like more long-haired. Like they've got the little side face tufty thing. So I used that as the base for Casper because he does have pretty long fur. But I think he looks so stinking cute. Also, I do want to point out I gave him accurate toe beans because he has like very multicolor little toe beans. So yeah, I tried to pay attention to little details like that. And I made him a smug villager because he is definitely a smug personality type, like 1000%. He is such a diva. He will wake me up at the crack of dawn, screaming for food, being such a beggar. He is so crazy. Alright, and next up we have, this is my other cat, Darcy. He is so no thoughts head empty. I'm obsessed with how he turned out. I adopted him summer 2023, so a year after Casper. I really had wanted another cat because Casper seemed kind of lonely some days and I felt really bad. And we had just moved into our current apartment, which was a much bigger space. I actually found him online. I was looking at online listings for a local cat rescue and they have all of their like available to adopt kitties. And he was one of them. So it was a bit rocky at first because like I said, Casper's a diva and he was definitely mad that this other cat was getting attention, but they're besties now. They're always hanging out. They're always like sitting near each other. They love playing together. And they definitely like care about each other a lot. Like if one of them is hiding, the other one will go looking, or like the other morning Casper was kind of like coughing, like I think he was trying to like cough up a hairball, and Darcy like ran up to him and was sniffing him and like making sure he was okay. It was so sweet. But Anyways, yeah, Darcy, I made him a lazy villager because he is so food motivated. He loves food. Every time we eat a meal, he will come and sit next to you and stare at you. Even if it's something that he's not gonna want to eat, like you can show it to him and he'll be like, ew, that smells bad. But then he'll still just sit there and watch you expecting that he's gonna get food. So yeah, he is definitely a lazy villager, 100%. All right, so those were my 2 cats, and now the next 3 are actually my sister Zoe's cats. So this is Toby. He is kind of the one that started it all. He's the one that got us all hooked on cats. So I mentioned earlier we had allergies in the family that included my sister Zoe. She could not be around cats because they just made her sneeze too much. And then she let in a stray cat into her house. And just fell in love with him. Unfortunately, that kitty was not a stray. He actually belonged to one of her neighbors and she had to give it back. But she had like bought all these cat toys and stuff and was like, you know what, I need to get my own cat. And she found Toby, our crazy little void kitty. He truly is like your stereotypical black cat. He is crazy. He zooms like crazy. That's why I made him a jock villager. He loves to play. He is just a crazy little bean. Yeah, and his model, you can tell, is like the normal cat villagers. I was scared he was gonna look too much like Kiki, but I think he actually does look different enough. He has the same like body color and the same mouth as Kiki, but his eyes are more like Rudy's eyes, and then he has Rudy's nose, so he looks a little different. He's not exactly the same as when I explain that part. But yeah, this is Toby, our little jock kitty. But yeah, I love him. He's so cute. So he was the first cat in the family, and my mom was very adamant that we were not getting a cat in our household. It was okay if Zoe had a cat, but we were not getting a cat. But then we had to babysit Toby for a week, and I was like, okay, hopefully I will convince my mom we need a cat. And literally like 2 or 3 days into our babysitting, I was like, so like, can we get a cat? And like my mom was like, I'm gonna miss having Toby around. And I was like, okay, we're getting a cat. And she was like, what if I don't love another cat as much as him? Which we do. We love our boy so much. But yeah, Toby convinced my mom to let me get a cat. So he's our little baby. He started it all. Our crazy little avoidling. Also, I didn't say fun facts, but all these kitties, you know, they usually give cats names when they're in a shelter. So they all had names before we renamed them. And this little dude was Meatball. Before he was Toby, he was Meatball. I think that's just the funniest name for a cat. Like, why would you name a cat Meatball? And my boy's Casper was named Piranha, which honestly, that should have been Darcy's name because Darcy is the one who's always trying to frickin' bite me. And Darcy's name before, his name was River, and then he did actually get adopted and was named Gandalf the Grey. And then he got taken back to the shelter and became River again. And then I took him. So he's had a couple names, but I just think it's always funny to hear cats' names like before they were your cat. Like, what did you rename them? What did the shelter call them? So yeah, this was our little Meatball boy. Now, next up we have our sweet little bitty baby, Remy, darling little angel. He was actually, Zoe adopted him the same day that I got Casper, actually. We both got them at the same shelter. I had been planning to go in and get a cat. Zoe was like, I'm gonna come along. We'll see if I click with any cats, because she kind of wanted a playmate for Toby. And she picked up this little itty bitty black kitty, and he did not want to be put down. She literally held him for probably 20 plus minutes, and that was our sweet little baby Remy. He was the craziest little kitty. Like, I remember going to visit Zoe after she had just gotten him, and he jumped up on our other sister Cassidy, was like trying to like scale her back and like get up onto her shoulders. Like, he was such a crazy kitty. So sweet and loving. Unfortunately, he was not with us for very long. He was very, very sick, and there was kind of nothing that could be done. So he crossed the Rainbow Bridge, but the time we did have with him was very, very special. He was just the cutest, special little baby. I I wanted to kind of capture that he was very young. I think he was only like 4 or 5 months maybe. So his model is actually based off of Katie from New Leaf. So it's kind of hard to tell, but he is slightly tinier than the other kitties. If you see him like standing next to my other cat mods, I can show a photo. He is smaller. So that kind of shows he's still a little baby kitten forever. I also have to point out the singular pink toe bean because Remy did have one little pink toe bean. It was his little his special little rare pink toe bean. I just loved that about him. But I just had to include him as one of the cats because he was just such a sweet little baby, and now he can live on our little island, and he is just so cute, and I love him so much. And finally, we have our little Milo, our My Loaf, as we call him sometimes. He is our little loaf kitty. So Milo was actually a street kitty. He was a stray. He had been coming around to Zoe's apartment here and there, but after Remy passed, he started coming very regularly, and we kind of like to think that maybe Remy guided him to Zoe, and yeah, he eventually became an indoor kitty. He started coming inside, and he and Toby got to know each other really quickly. I think they were used to each other's smell just because Zoe would let Milo in sometimes to have some food or, water inside, and I think they just kind of got used to each other, so they became like instant friends, and they are the sweetest cats. Like, they literally curl up with each other and snuggle and are so freaking cute. I wish my boys would be that snuggly, but yeah, Milo is so freaking adorable. I made him a cranky, not because I think he actually is cranky, but because he is the oldest of our kitties. We don't really know exactly how old he is because he was a street kitty. The vets were saying like maybe I don't know, 3 to 5 years. But yeah, these are all my kitties that I made. I am so proud of myself. This took so long. Actually making the mods was maybe like 2 or 3 weeks, but it took several months of research and trial and error before I even got close to figuring out how to make them, which I do want to switch over to my desktop and just kind of briefly show you guys how this process worked. It's really complicated, and I don't want this video to be like a billion years long. So I'm just gonna kind of briefly show you guys how I actually did this. All right, so here we are now on my desktop. Hi Link, hi baby. But basically how I make the mods, if you're curious, obviously first you have to modded switch. If you don't know what that is, like, go Google it. I'm not gonna explain. I'm just gonna assume you know what a modded switch is. And anyways, I have this folder. It's called ROMFS. This is something that's like an internal folder in the game. And this is basically all of the stuff in the game. If you look in different folders, there's all sorts of stuff. Like the message folder has, these are dialogue for all of the different languages. You've got like Chinese, German, European English. There are actually some minor differences from the European English versus American English. Like, I know some villagers have different names. Obviously, and then spellings would be different for certain words. There's Russian here. But yeah, so all these different dialogue boxes. So you can literally go in here and you can see like all the dialogue in the game, which is kind of crazy. You can edit all sorts of crazy stuff. But basically the files that I used are all of these ones down here. If you get to these ones where it says, oh my God, I'm sorry, I'm like scrolling so much. These ones, it just says NPC NML. This is basically animals. And you find your villager. So we got Hip00. So whoever Hippo0 is. I don't know. Maybe it's Biddy. Maybe it's Biff. I don't know. But I basically worked with the cats. So I know off the top of my head, because I've been working with these mods, Cat 23 is Raymond. I believe Cat 20 is Rudy. Cat 4 is Kiki. So if you open these up, you'll literally, let me actually open one of these really quickly, so you can see just what the generic in-game models look like. And I use this with a program. It's called Toolbox. It's free to download. And you're gonna file, open. I'm gonna copy that file path I was just in. And yeah, let's just actually pick, let's just pick one of the cats at random. Where are we? See, NML. I'm gonna go a little higher up. These folders are massive. The whole ROM-FS is many, many gigabytes. I want to say 9 gigabytes or something. It's pretty big. There's a shit ton of folders. Wait, let's open up cat 6. I don't know who cat number 6 is, but we're gonna find out. Make this a little bigger for you to see. And you just double click to expand it and you get a model. Okay, so this is Punchy. So we get this really ominous T-pose model. You can see like a 3D naked layout. You can see his beans. And then if you expand this and go to, well, in models, you basically you see like a 3D model. So there's the body. Here says cap, that's the ears, but like if they have kind of like a cap or a visor, I think that's why it says cap viz here. Just the eye part and in the mouth. So those are all like separate pieces in the game. I don't know how to reshape these. Like obviously the mods I used for Casper and Darcy, they're like bumped out more. I don't know how they did that. Like that is beyond me. I don't know how to do the 3D modeling part of this. The only part that I really manipulated was here. We have textures and you can see these are all like Photoshop documents or like images. So here you have the body, which you can see this is like this really weird, basically a flat representation of what's on his body. You can kind of tell, okay, this part is going on his ear. Those are his feet down there. Some of these kind of like white and brown pieces, those are like his hands and his feet, the tip of his tail. It's really kind of strange, like how it looks, and it's hard to visualize, but yeah, that's how it works. And that's the ALB, the ALB. I forget, there's like a full name for it, I'm pretty sure. Or it's just called ALB. I feel like it has a full name, but that's that basically. And then anywhere you see where it says mix is basically like shininess. I didn't really encounter that much, honestly, with most of this stuff, so that wasn't a big deal. And then NM is called the normal. That's what gives the villagers that kind of slightly fuzzy look to them, which the body is plain. But if you look at like, okay, the eyes, there's a ton of difference. So you've got different eye files for every expression. So every which direction he's looking, eyes closed, there's all sorts of different stuff. If we look at the mix, you can see, it might be hard to see, but very faintly, it's a paler pink over where like the whites of his eyes are. So that'll make the whites of his eyes a little bit shiny, basically. And then if you look at the normal, you see it's 3D, so that in game, his eyes and his eyelids will actually, in here it looks very flat, but in game it'll be a little bit more 3-dimensional. It'll have that kind of shape to it. And then same thing for, we have the mouth. The mouth doesn't have any shininess to it. And then again, that texture for the mouth. So that's basically the rundown of the files of how this works. Let me now open up to show you my mods I made. So I made a file for my cats. They're all sorted here. Let's open up Casper. And I edited multiple files. This one is basically, actually I can't remember. I think this one is his picture on the mini map. And then this one is like, let's actually just open it. Yeah, so this one is like his picture on the mini map. When I open up and you see like what villagers I have, that's his photo. This file here did, I think this one's his photo. Oh my God, I didn't show you. I put their photos in the game. Oh my God, I'm so dumb. I literally didn't show you. I replaced, so if he gives me his photo, this is what I'll see in the game, which is kind of cute. But let's open up, this is the main file for Casper. Here he is in all his naked T-posing glory. And you can see, yeah, I basically recolored it to look like him. I basically didn't want to do all this by hand, so I started with some basic stuff. I actually copied, this is Lolly's body file. I literally copy pasted it. Made the colors a little darker. I made the beans the correct color and then put it on here and it looked pretty good. And then here are his eyes, all the different eye expressions. And this is where things got really complicated. Recoloring furniture is pretty easy. It's literally just you color it however you want. But the villagers actually have what's called an alpha layer, and it's basically transparency. So if I click this little button here, you can see it's like transparent, and it lays this transparency onto the like little 3D body. And it got kind of complicated to do this because, like I said, so I like just copy and pasted this from, I took Lolly, her kind of pattern. I literally copy and pasted this, but then it was being weird. Like if I changed the shape of the mouth, the transparency matched up with the old mouth, and like it didn't look right. Like it looked very bizarre. I don't really know how to explain it, but I had to make sure that basically this is all the same transparency level, because sometimes it's like, oh, more opaque over their mouth or more opaque in one area or another, and then when I was recoloring it, that transparency didn't line up. It just looked really messed up. And then yeah, I had to copy like the normal levels or the normal files, which this is why instead of like free-handing the mouth and stuff, I really wanted to basically copy another villager because I was able to grab these normals. So this is actually Raymond's mouth. All of these mouths, you might notice like the shape of his smile. This is exactly what Raymond looks like in the game. You don't have to have these normal files. You could just make it flat, but having it makes them look more 3D and realistic in the game. So that's why when I made these mods, I basically just kind of patchworked together different villagers. So yeah, he has like Raymond's mouth, Lolly's color pattern. Let's maybe show Toby next. But we've got Toby here. Toby was the biggest struggle with the transparency. Because when I was first recoloring him, I didn't really understand how it worked. And instead of being like solid black, some parts of him would be blue. I can show a photo on screen, but I was having issues where instead of being black, he was blue. And it was because the alpha layer was like too opaque. It was like really confusing, and I still don't really get it, honestly. But yeah, it took so much practice to figure this all out. But like here, if I toggle it, you can tell his nose is really opaque. His nose is far more opaque than like his eyes. But yeah, that's kind of basically how I did stuff. And then to edit the pictures, I used this program called GIMP. That's G-I-M-P. It's also free to use. I'm more comfortable with Photoshop, but I don't know how to work with the alpha layers in Photoshop. So like here, I just opened up, this was a recent file. This is one of Milo's eyes. It's cool here. You basically can unsee the alpha and then click that. So then I'm just like drawing on here and it's not gonna affect the transparency. Versus say if I just draw right on top of it, then that's gonna be like extremely opaque in game and it's gonna look like really fucked up. But yeah, I don't know if any of this really makes sense or if it's of interest to you all. I thought it was very fascinating learning all of this. This was so insanely hard, honestly, and it took so much freaking time. But I am so proud of myself that I figured this all out. Alright, I just moved back over into the game because I did want to show you their photos. But yeah, these are their photos, which obviously, yeah, I can edit this stuff. And then I did also edit in the game, oh, I can't use the map, just kidding. They're little map photos. You'll see it in future videos, that their photos on the map look. Well, I guess I can actually show you here. You can these are basically how they look on the map, and you can see I did make custom photos for them. Their names are obviously correct, so that's cool. And then I did also, not only did I change how their photos look, but I gave them catchphrases. Okay, hopefully, yeah, it'll show here. It's a photo of Casper. I did not change their birthdays. That involves editing like the hex files. I don't know how to do that. I don't know anything about that stuff. It's like you open it and it's just numbers and I got scared. So I didn't edit it. Casper's birthday is not October 1st. Interesting. This is very random. So they just have the same birthdays as whoever they replaced. 3 of these guys actually share birthdays with family members. So this is not actually Casper's birthday, but October 1st is actually my sister's birthday. So that's kind of a weird coincidence. And I had to do all Taylor Swift quotes, of course, because we are a Swiftie and she loves cats. So Casper's photo says, "Get me with those green eyes, babies, the lights go down." That's from Sparks Fly, which is one of my favorite frickin' songs. We've got Darcy. His birthday's January 12th. I don't know anyone with a January 12th birthday. Is this your birthday? Let me know in the comments. His saying is, "You're so gorgeous. I can't say anything to your face." That's Gorgeous by Taylor Swift. We sing it to Darcy all the time. So that's his quote. Remy here. And his birthday's April 11th. I think Zoe said that's her boyfriend's birthday. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, another coincidental family birthday. And I picked "One single thread of gold tied me to you," because I feel like it was just meant to be that Zoe found him. We didn't have him in the household for long, but he got to spend out his final days with a loving family and the sweetest big brother ever. And speaking of that sweet big brother, here's Toby. Yeah, and then December 20th is my mom's birthday, so we went. Why is Casper looking? Casper just looked straight at me and then turned away. That was really fucking scary. What the hell? I didn't think they were supposed to be able to move on their own at Harv's Island. I'm like freaked out. Casper's like self-aware. Anyways, favorite saying is, "Meet me at midnight." Of course, our little void kitty. And then Milo, his is November 29th. I also do not know anyone with this birthday. If this is your birthday, hit me up in the comments. I think that'd be cool if it was your birthday. And his is "Karma is a cat purring in my lap because it loves me." So this was a lot of fun, just not only making them, but then like deciding what would their photo things be, their catchphrases. Casper's catchphrase is Treato because he loves Treatos. Darcy's is "Chippy Chippy." I'm actually going to explain it in my next video more, but basically it's a reference to the "Chippy Chippy Chappa Chappa," that cat meme. It's a reference to that. Remy's catchphrase is "Baby" because he is baby. He's just a little baby. Toby's catchphrase is "Void" because he is a void kitty. Literally, I love his photo. It's like, you can't even make out any features. It's just black and then there's eyeballs. True void. And then Milo says "Loaf" because he is my loaf. My loaf. He's just a loaf boy. But yes, these are my modded kitties I made. I'm so proud of them. I love them so much. I'm so proud. I did this. I made them. They're not perfect, but they're mine, and I love them so much. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it wasn't too much yapping. I expected this to be a 10-minute video, and I'm looking and I have like 30 minutes of footage, so this is not going to be a 10-minute video. I apologize, but hopefully it was enjoyable, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!